Welcome to day 8 of your 30-day Dental MBA, the ultimate receptionist. And I want to congratulate you to sticking through to day 8. There's a lot of research out there that people who buy practice management systems, I don't care if it's the big famous ones like by Tony Robbins, which is a must, people never get through the whole program. Hardly anybody. Back to Elder Spanky, 2% are masters. The fact that you're at day 8, I guarantee you, you've passed the 50 percentile. Dentists always have bigger appetites. They want more food than they're going to eat on their plate. And you bought this 30-day program, and I'm convinced that day 8 you've probably outlived 50% of your other dentists. And we're here today to talk about the ultimate receptionist. Let me tell you something about a receptionist. If you want a star basketball team, with the exception of Michael Jordan, the bald basketball player, genetic freak, all you want is a good center. In baseball, all you want is a good pitcher. In hockey and soccer, all you want is a goalie. And in every gosh darn team, like football, all you want is a quarterback. If you've got the one-star position nailed by the best, you have a comparative advantage. And let me tell you something about dentistry. I don't care who the dentist is. I don't care where he's from. When people call your office, the first impression set in lead, never get a second chance to make a first impression, it's your receptionist. They will form more attitudes and beliefs and thoughts about your office after they hang up the phone with the receptionist than any other person out there. If your best player is the hygienist, make her your receptionist. I don't care if the best person in the office is the dentist. It's more profitable for the dentist to be a receptionist and hire associates to do the dentistry. All you want is the ultimate receptionist. So let's go there. The average dentist has 1.2 full-time receptionists. Average specialist is 1.3. And I think that's silly. I mean, if you want to beef up one area, if you had to over-beef up one area, it'd be your receptionist. I've got in more offices where there's one receptionist, 2 hygienists, 2 or 3 assistants, and 1 dentist. And the front office, you know, the most important position in the office is understaffed, undermotivated, undertrained. The account receivables are out the roof. The scheduling, the phone's ringing. You call back dentists. I try to return all my phone calls. Half the time I get an answering machine or out to lunch. I mean, this is crazy. You have to staff the front office receptionist better than anything else in your entire office. I mean, put your best. And when you go to a restaurant, if you go get a job at a restaurant, you apply for a job at a restaurant, you smoke cigarettes and you smoke pot and you got a tattoo and your hair is long, you got a bone through your nose, you're a cook. What does every restaurant do with the ultimate person? What do you do at every restaurant with the person with the mostest? You make them the hostess. You always park your best person you have up front. I remember my dad, when his first restaurant and sit-down steakhouse called the Circle 3, it was in Kingman, Kansas, and my gosh, he used to always say, that the gosh darn everything is the maitre d'. He used to tell the cooks, if there's a fire in the kitchen, you're not allowed to run up front. Never let those people up there know that you're the animal back here cooking. If there's a fire, you're going to burn to death and die. Don't wear your uniform. Sneak in the back door. Put it on. Don't tell anybody you work here. I mean, most restaurants on any given day have someone who learned how to cook in prison. If you are a cook and you start to get rid of some of your dysfunctional personalities and you start bathing and all that kind of stuff and maybe get tattoo removal, maybe you can work your way up to a busboy. But you're not going to be the gosh darn waiter or the waitress, and you're certainly not going to be the hostess with the mostest. And I want you to put more thinking into your receptionist than you ever have before. All staff should always be in a uniform with a name tag and introduce themselves by a name. Right now, I mean, Patton studied Rommel. He studied the generals he was going up against. He studied every detail. I want you to draw a mile or 3 mile or 5 mile radius around your office, and I want you to call every one of those dental offices, and you see how they answer the phone. And then ask them, you'll hear stuff like, Dr. Smith's office. What, you don't even have a name? Why don't you answer saying, thank you for calling today's dental. This is Jerry Ann. How may I help you? Well, Jerry, I'd like to make an appointment. When was the last time we saw you? You've never seen me before. Oh, congratulations. Did you just move to Phoenix? No, I've lived here for 5 years. You mean you haven't gone to the dentist in 5 years? Well, no, I didn't say that. Well, I don't need to know his name, but tell me, or her name, why are you not going back there? Every receptionist says, oh, that person called up and asked how much a cleaning is. They're just price shopping, the bitch. I hung up the phone on her. Well, what is the person supposed to ask? What question is supposed to ask? How do you operate a root canal? Do you use thermofill, silver points, Sargenti? Do you use lateral condensation, vertical condensation, thermofill, plastic carrier, titanium carrier, stainless steel carrier? What question are they supposed to ask? It's a break the ice question to say how much you charge for a cleaning, but that's what they say. But that's not what their unconscious thoughts. Sigmund Freud or Abraham Maslow would know there was a hell of a lot more punch to that question than the price of a gosh darn cleaning. In fact, what I've found out is when patients call and ask for the price of a cleaning, if you say, well, have we seen you before? No. Did you just move to Phoenix? No. I lived here 10 years. So why aren't you going back to your last office? Well, let me tell you. And they'll start talking and this and that and this and that and this and that. 10 minutes later, the appointment's scheduled, the chart's halfway filled out, and the price never even was given. Because it really, I mean, we'd give it if we really thought that was it, and we keep going. I mean, if they ask again, we'd tell them. But that's not what, they're not shopping on price. It's about best service, or it's about best product. I had a filling done there, and my teeth didn't touch on the other side, and it packed food, and it was sensitive, and I called back to the receptionist and asked her if that's normal, and she said yes. Receptionist, if someone had dentistry done and they're calling you up asking you a question about it, that's a cry for help. Schedule them. You can't do dentistry over the phone, or AT&T would merge with dentistry. If they call out and say, well, you know, is this normal for ABC? Say, you know what would be better? Why don't you stop by and let doctor take a peek out of it? You know, we warranty everything 5 years. You got instructions, you warranty. Doctor would love to take a peek at it. And I'm sure if he saw it, he could answer your questions better. Would you mind coming in? And they say, no, I don't want to come in. Now you really know the weight of this problem. Is this a major problem or a minor problem? And maybe it's a little anal retentive detail problem. Maybe they're just curious. Maybe they're writing a book. Who knows? But figure out more. Go beyond the question. Tony Robbins says state management, that feelings affect your state of mind. Look what a toothache does to your mind. You know, if you worked at if you worked at Disneyland, I mean, every customer you saw, my gosh, they'd be so excited. These kids have waited their whole life to go there. There's usually smoke coming out of their diaper. Everybody's got a grin on their face. You almost can't screw up the event, okay? When my dad was in the restaurant business, I mean, people come into a restaurant, they're so happy. They're about to eat 70 grams of fat, have a mixed drink, overeat, eat enough bread and butter for 9 people, eat cheeseburgers, onion rings. You know, you didn't pick that feel-good industry. I don't know why you went into dentistry, but, you know, when you're a dentist, people are calling you up and they got pain or they got a headache or they're going to have to spend a lot of money on something they weren't planning on. You know, if someone's got $3,000 in a savings account, they probably want a jet ski or a getaway vacation. They probably don't want a root canal build up in a crown. People sit there, they don't want to spend their money there. They got a toothache, they got a headache, and they're calling up, they're being grouchy. And let me tell you something, that's your job. You're supposed to be bulletproof to that. Don't play down to their level. And, you know, I fly a lot. I've flown 1,000,000 miles in the sky. My gosh, you know, every week somewhere. And it's so funny, you know, satisfaction equals perceptions minus expectations. So you're expecting this plane to take off at 8 p.m., and they come back and they say the flight's been delayed an hour. That's no big deal that the plane's going to take off at 9 instead of 8 and whatever. And what do the dysfunctional, non-resilient personalities do? They walk up to this reception agent and they start ripping her a new one. And you know, you always see the untrained new staff fighting back. Excuse me, sir, excuse me, and you know, fighting back. My gosh, it takes 2 to fight, it takes 2 to tangle, it takes 2 to get pregnant. Don't sit there and get on their level. Put on your maternal instincts. Put on your paternal instincts. When some man comes in and he's mad, don't look at him as some 40-year-old man being a jerk. Look at him as a 4-year-old little boy holding a teddy bear, thinking, I got a toothache and I want my mommy. Let your maternal instincts take over. When they're in the chair and they start getting really, really mad, the first thing I do is I touch their shoulder. You know, it's non-sexual. It's not their, you know, it's socially okay. And you touch their shoulder and you say, I know this has got to be frustrating. I mean, there's nothing worse than a toothache or a headache or paying $3,000 for something you weren't planning on. I know, I feel your pain. You know what I mean? I understand. And get them calmed down. And if they bite at you a couple times, that's your job. Hell, if you don't like cleaning out bedpans, why did you become a registered nurse or a gosh darn LPN? If you only wanted to deal with happy people, you should have got a job at Disneyland or in a restaurant or some entertainment deal. But you're in dentistry. Expect, be trained, be prepared. Want people to cry out and want help. When your little boy's at home, and he comes up to you and you tell him to go to bed and he says, I don't want to go to bed, and he gets mad or upset or whatever, you don't start yelling at him or kicking him or beating him or spanking him or giving a timeout unless you're 9 out of 10 mothers in the world. But you sit there and you deal with him. You're dealing with the state of mind of a 2-year-old or a 3-year-old or a 4-year-old. Don't react with force and coercion and fighting and snapping. Let maternal instincts. Pretend this is your child. Treat other people like you want to be treated. That is the final law. All the rest is commentary, Judaism, 2000 BC. Fear is an emotional state that is activated to avoid pain. Remember, the Greeks said you want to seek pleasure and avoid pain. So basically, fear is an emotional state that's activated to avoid pain. It stimulates the excretion of epinephrine to elicit the entire fight or flight response. Fear spelled out F-E-A-R. F is for false evidence appearing real. It's an emotional reaction. There's no yardsticks. There's nothing real in debate. It's emotions take over. So reach out with emotions. And remember this. Fear is going to make people extremely emotional. And that's why you've got to be well versed on telling these people, well, you know what? Have you ever considered that, when you come into the dental office that maybe you use nitrous oxide? Or we can give you like a Halcyon or a Valium or an Ativan. If you take 10 milligrams of Valium per every 100 pounds, or a milligram of Halcyon for every 100 pounds, and doctor could go down there and probably do a root canal, or probably remove your foot, and you'd wake up and you wouldn't even know it. Or, here's a handout for our anesthesiology service. You can call this service right now, and we can reschedule this thing, and because you can't eat anything or drink anything before midnight. And you come in here, and the anesthesiologist will meet you, and for $150 an hour, they'll put you to sleep. We don't do our own anesthesia because we think that's a specialized skill where someone that only does that, that's only well-versed in that, should concentrate on that. But my gosh, we can put you to sleep. All my big cases, I would say majority of all my big cases, they'll sit there and say, you mean you can put me to sleep? Oh my gosh, well, if you can put me to sleep, I don't want to just fix this broken tooth. I want to do the whole dang thing. They'll say, well, great. Well, let's do this. Let's come back. Let's get a set of x-rays to determine everything you need. See if you can afford it, what your insurance will pay or not pay, and what financing options you got, or however you want to take care of that. And if you decide you want to be put to sleep and do the whole thing, we'll reschedule. We'll have an anesthesiologist meet us here. We'll put you out. We'll do the whole dang thing. And remember, underneath this 50-year-old man being a jerk is just a little 4-year-old little boy. Maybe you have a little boy who's 4, 5, 6, 17, 21. They never grow up. They're just acting out with fear. So all staff team members need to have their own business cards with economic incentives on the back so they can give it to their own social network to help build their own practice. Now, the first thing I look for on my patient referral deals, I want to know, if I got 31 staff members, I want to know each year how many people come in referred by them. If you work for me for a year and you were born and raised in Arizona, you lived here for 10 years, you didn't refer a single person here, I don't think either you're into dentistry or you don't really believe in what we're doing. Maybe you don't like tooth-colored fillings. Maybe you think they should be amalgams. Maybe you think everybody should save their money. Their teeth are all going to fall out anyway. But you know what? I think that you have to study your team members and look at existing behaviors. What would generate a referral? Well, how many times does someone say to your staff member, you're bowling or you're out, and they say, well, Mary, do you have your, can I get your phone number? And, well, if they got a card and it's got their home number and their work number, they'll just pull out their card, and then on the back of the card it says, present this at Today's Dental and receive a cleaning exam and x-ray for 50% off. Or you can say, turn in this card and receive $25 off your next dental visit. You got an economic incentive. You're piggybacking an existing behavior. You're piggybacking your own staff team members' existing social network. I mean, it's just a win-win situation, and you can really start to see the cards, the unconscious cards, if your staff team members are really buying into you. How come I'll go into office after office and one dental assistant has referred 30 people to your office in the last 3 years, and one has never referred anybody in 5 years? She's the same person that when I used to do in-office consulting, the consultant's trick, the fast way to get a diagnosis, is all the information's floating there. You just take a chair outside the back door, and you have a 30-minute interview with each person, all alone, in complete confidentiality, and say, trust me, no one's going to tell anybody this. This is all between you and me, but tell me, What's the top 2 things that are best about this practice? What are the top 2 things that are worse about this practice? What would you never change in this office? What do you change tomorrow? And they'll say things like, well, I think the dentistry's good, and I think that one dental assistant's great, but I think that hygienist is a witch. Well, hell, if 5 people come out the back door and 3 of them say she's a witch, guess what? She's a witch. So, it's so easy to do. And you can get to your unconscious staff team members, find out what they're thinking by just watching their behavior. Every time someone acts out an action, it was preceded by a thought. The thought's either in their unconscious id, or their subconscious, or their active conscience. So all you got to do is look at their behavior. You know what they were thinking at least a minute ago, if not 10, 20 years ago. Reminder to all receptionists. You work with people, not paper. Your job description isn't filing charts, getting the mail, filing insurance, explanation of benefits, doing billing, doing statements. You don't sit there and when I go into a dental office, they've glassed in the front end. I just crack up and laugh. I'm thinking of Sam Walton with $29 billion, and he's got a greeter standing outside the front door. Your receptionist is not only outside, she's inside, and she's walled off by this glass wall. And now you see all these dentists out there saying the front deskless office where you walk in, it's an art gallery, and there's no people there. Like people are really picking dentistry based on wall paintings and art. And hell, I've walked in dental office, I didn't even know what was happening. Hell, I thought I was in a library and left, and I thought I was in the wrong place. Only come out later that he's front desklessness or some weird thing like that. The top traits to look for in hiring team members is rule number one, damn it, do they love dentistry? I mean, come on, when you go to an aerobics class, and I love when I'm on the road, or I love going to aerobics because, I hate exercise, I hate running. I don't know what a runner's high is. To me, it's a side ache and nausea. But, but you're in aerobics, you're in music, there's usually good-looking chicken spandex, and it's a lot easier to get into a workout. And you look at those aerobic instructors, half of the ones I've ever gone to that were the best don't even get paid to do it. Would you go to an aerobics instructor, weighed 300 pounds, smoked 3 packs a day, and was up there eating bacon, telling you what to do? The people who love what they do are the best. In an interview, ask them, well, what do you think about dentistry? You like it? You love it? You take it? Leave it? What are you telling about it? And when they sit there and say, it's fine. I've worked in it for 10 years. What do you mean fine? You're average. You're the best, the worst, the best, the cream of the crap. I don't want you. I'm looking for a Michael Jordan, a Scottie Pippen, a Dennis Rodman. You know who you're looking for. Number 2, ask him, do you love to learn more about dentistry? How come in every dental office, every time the dentist closed down the office for a day, or maybe they don't work on Saturdays, but they signed up for a continuing ed course on Saturday, and they got 5 team members, and 3 of them always go, and 2 of them never go, and they always come back and say, well, I can't, doctor, I have to babysit my kid, or my husband's doing that. They always have an excuse. Well, it's not an excuse. They're telling you, they're screaming, look, I'm not into dentistry. I don't like it. I don't want to learn about it. When you tell me you're not interested in learning more about your damn career, where you spend 1/3 of your life in this career and you don't want to learn more about it, and you think you're a star? Michael Jordan, Thomas Watson Jr. of IBM, Ray Kroc grinding out of McDonald's, Andy Grove, only the paranoid survive. Look at Bill Gates. Everybody's saying, he's worth $100 billion, and that's bad. He's got $100 billion. What does Bill Gates do? 15, 16 hours a day, 7 days a week. What does he do? Runs Microsoft. You think it's about the money? If it was about the money, when he had his first billion, he would have quit. He'd have filled up a jacuzzi with cash and set in all that cash while he had hoochie coochie girls dance around. That's what idiots think money's all about. The people who make the most money make it because it wasn't ever about money. It was about their career. And in dentistry, not being in manufacturing, not being in industry, in mining or agriculture or growing corn or that, it's a service industry. So these people got to like people. I'll take an introvert all day long, and I also think that every year they are older, the better they are at people skills. I mean, the worst thing in the world is have a receptionist, 21 years old, knocked down, gorgeous blonde, Barbie doll figure, inch-long fingernail, sitting up at the front desk, and all these low self-esteem house mothers with 3 kids and stretch marks and varicose veins, and my God, the first thing to do is pick a fight every time. You got a 65-year-old grandma up there. She's been around the block. When people are less likely to attack a grandma because it's against the grain in our culture to attack grandpa and grandpa. Ask the biggest bull in the farm to go punch grandpa right in the face who's 70 years old. He couldn't do it if you punched him if you said he wasn't going to do it. Get people persons. Get extroverts, preferably older, less intimidating people. Number 4, always, I want people, they love getting involved in your practice area and community. The main question I ask people is like, well, what do you do outside of dentistry? And if all they do is they're into themselves, they're not people persons. They don't look outside. You know, only 13 out of 100 people will ever get involved one time in their life with the Rotary, the Kiwanis, the PTA, a church, being the coach at T-ball, doing YMCA, doing something for no money, giving back to the area community. When you got a hygienist, receptionist, assistant that's never been the assistant coach, never done PTA, never done Kiwanis, Rotary, doesn't do nothing, there's a person that's totally into themselves. They think fear, they think scarcity. Hell, they think if you invite someone over to their house, they're going to steal your orange juice. These are not the people in a service business, okay? These are misers, okay? And dentistry is just a job. If they're really too busy to take continuing education, if they pay lip service to people but can't name a single community involvement, then stop this relationship now. I remember back in 1987, the first thing I did when I got to Phoenix, Arizona, is I couldn't understand why the kids had such a high decay rate. And so I called the CDC in Atlanta, and the guy starts laughing and says, well, my gosh, Howard, you know, they started fluoridating water January 25th, 1945, Grand Rapids, Michigan, where they adjusted the fluoride in the water from 0.3 parts per million to 1 part per million, which is the same level in the ocean, because fluoride is the 13th most common element in the Earth's crust. It shows up in the ocean 1 part per million, and all the teeth in the ocean, which cover 71% of the Earth, are all built structurally sound. But see, the only way you're going to get fluoride as a source of nutrition is to eat seafood. You get all the fluoride you ever want eating seafood. And we see that in populations like Singapore and Hong Kong and Japan and coastal areas that live on the ocean. But in America, it's meat and potatoes. They don't eat ever seafood. They don't get a source of fluoride. And there's only 7 towns in the largest 50 that aren't fluoridated. They're all west of the Mississippi River, and you're living in, and they're Phoenix, they were L.A., they were Salt Lake City, which I always tease Gordon that he's the god of dentistry. He's from Utah, and Utah has the highest percentage of unfluoridated water of any state. 91% of the children today are drinking water in Utah that is not optimally fluoridated. The other ones were San Antonio, Oregon. What's the big city in Oregon? Portland, Oregon, and Honolulu. And I sit there and said, well, my gosh, Phoenix is the 3rd largest unfluoridated city in America. And the guy says, you know, there's a guy involved in the Office of Dental Health named Jack Dillenberg, and he's got together with a hygienist named Kathy Smith, who's the hygienist in the Indian Public Health Service, and they've already started putting together a team, and they're going to get involved in fluoridating Phoenix. My gosh, we met every week for 2 years. I was on KTAR talk radio debating chiropractors who were against it, and military generals, and John Birch Society wackos, and my gosh, I was on KTR, KFYI, the public television, Channel 8 news program, in the newspapers. Man, I loved it, and I watched that in the first couple of years. Half my staff went to every city council meeting. They got petitions, they got involved, they were into it, and we fluoridated Phoenix. They didn't earn a dime, I didn't earn a dime. In fact, the CDC thought it would reduce a cavity a year per person in our own backyard. If it was going to do anything to us, it was going to hurt us. And when we fluoridated Phoenix, I mean, my God, we were choked up. We were fighting back the tears. And it went on from there. We went on to Tucson and Chandler and Gilbert. I mean, not Gilbert, Glendale. And we loved it. And I started realizing after about a year or two, how come this hygienist and that receptionist and that assistant ain't ever been to one of these events in 2 years? I don't care when we're going to meet. There's always an excuse because there's nothing in it for them. And I realize this is dysfunctional people. They're not into dentistry. They don't love dentistry. They don't love to learn more about dentistry. They don't like people. They don't like getting involved in your practice. It's all about them. They're in it for themselves. I got rid of these people. And I'm telling you, look for people you want to play with. You know, if you ask a kid any morning, you know, I'll tell you what, you want to see disease? If you got disease, you're going to know it first when you have a kid. Because, you know, when you have a kid, I don't care where I put my 4 kids to bed at night, from like birth to 5. I don't care wherever you put them to bed. I don't care if you tie them to the rail out in the backyard. When you wake up, there they are in your bed. And you ever notice when little kids, the minute their eye opens, they're up. Like, oh my God, they know instinctually that when you're born, you only get 30,000 days of life. Everyone is irreplaceable. The minute their eye opens, they're up. And the first thing you want to do is go eat breakfast. And then you look at the dysfunctional, stressed out parent, and they're sitting there hitting the snooze alarm and hitting the snooze alarm. You don't want to wake up to another day of life. And then they get up and say, well, are you going to go out and eat a breakfast to start your day right? Oh, I'm just going to have a cigarette and a cup of coffee. That's all I want. I don't want to eat breakfast. And then you leave. And you say to your kids, what are you going to do today? And the kids say, we're going to play. And you go, not me, damn it. I'm going to work. I'm going to go to work, do things I hate with people I hate. I'll be back at 5 o'clock. And then they come back at 5 o'clock. And finally, they're there with a beer and a gin and tonic, 2 Vicodin, a Percodan, a bong hit, whatever the hell they're eating cheese, bacon, lemon meringue pies. They stop by on the way home, Marie Kondo's, get about 9 pumpkin pies, and then they tell their kids, okay, kids, time to go to bed. And the kids are all crying. They don't want to go to bed. They want to stay up. They do anything they can to stay up. And you're over there drinking gin and tonic so you're ready to pass out. People, that's disease. That's from depression. That's from always walking into an environment every day with people you don't like, doing things you don't like, and if you force a rat to lick a switch and it shocks him, you force him to keep going back, eventually, hell, he kills his own babies. They know with mammals that if you spread them out just right, every time a generation of mammals, they all live about the same life expectancy. And then if you take that same number of mammals and cut down the area to 1/10 the size, life expectancy drops tenfold. You got tons of data on stress. What is stress is, well, I got to be at work at 5 and I'm with people I hate, doing things I don't want to do, all for money, and it's all about disease and dysfunction and depression. I tell my kids when I leave for work, I tell them the same thing my dad told me. I said, well, we're going to play. We'd say, well, Dad, what are you going to do? And my dad said, well, I'm going to go to my office and play all day. And my kids say to me, and they go, Dad, what are you going to do? And I say, well, I'm going to go to our office today, Dental. I'm going to play. And they would say, well, Dad, can we go with you and play there? And if my staff pissed me off the day before, I say, sure, everybody get in the car. And then I'll have them all go sit around the person that's driving me nuts. And then you look at little kids. They say they're going to play all day. You put them on the playground. Who do they play with? People they like. They won't play with people they don't like. You're working side by side someone you hate, and you're the owner. You could fire this person. You don't even have enough guts to fire the person you hate. If you got team members that can't work it out, you got to work it out. Otherwise, you got a cancer. It'll spread. It'll hurt the whole morale of the office. You only play with people you want to play with. If you saw 5,000 patient visits last year, and every single of those patients allowed to come back, I call that the Nicole Brown-Simpson syndrome. I mean, if you keep making love and kissing and meeting with people who beat the hell out of you, eventually they hack you to death with a knife. I mean, I fire patients at least, I'd say every 1 or 2 months I fire a patient. They'll have some, they'll be mad, they're yelling about the bill, they're all upset or whatever. But as soon as they get out of the office, I do it myself because I love controversy. I love confrontation. I have all the tolerance. We're all calm. I'll say, hey, Jim, Howard, Farran. Hey, I noticed, buddy, when you came in here, you're very upset and you were barking at me, you're barking at the assistant, you took the smile off my receptionist's face, and you know what, buddy? We have 12,000 patients who love to come here. You don't like coming here, and I think, there's 2,000 dentists in the valley. You don't need to come here. Look, I'm going to be a catalyst for change your life. You're not happy when you come here, so I'm going to tell you, I'm going to be a catalyst for change your life. You're not allowed to come back. You name me a dental office, give me the name, I'll find the address, I'll mail your records there, and you should see the shock in their face. Excuse me? What do you mean I can't come back? I mean that I own this dental office and you act like an asshole when you walk in here, and I don't ever want to see your face near again. You took the smile off my assistant, you took the smile off my receptionist, no one likes seeing you, no one likes treating you, and then when you leave, there's my receptionist, assistant hygienist who lost the smile on their face when the next customer who wants to come in is ready to come into a happy environment, and there's not a happy environment because you walked in here and polluted the environment. You ever set foot in this dental office again, the staff's been instructed to call 911 and have your ass arrested. And I mean, I do that. I've done that every 2 months for gosh darn 10 years. Same thing my dad. I learned that from my dad. Man, he had a restaurant. It was on the wrong side of town. People would come in there and they would order profanities, and my dad, he would call 911, and as soon as he called 911, he'd hang up the phone, and he'd walk out there, knowing it'd take 2 to 3 minutes for the police to get there, and he'd pepper spray him every time. He said, you ever say a vulgarity like that again, I'm going to break every bone in your body, as he pulled out his pepper spray and maced him in the face. You do not say the F word. You do not say GD. You do not say rude things to my waitresses, my receptionists, or I will spray pepper spray in your face as I'm having you arrested. So think about that. You can't allow to have pollution in your front office. If your receptionist is busy or gone to lunch or gone for the day, Remember, your message on hold is now your first impression. There's 168 hours in a week. You got a 32-hour receptionist. She's only there 20% of the week. Who's your first impression the other 80% of the time? Make it a message on hold system. I like Metamark, 1-800-848-2024. That's 1-800-848-2024. I don't get a dime for the referral. Don't even think it. Receptionist, I don't care what the average is. They're telling us that the average number of personnel per independent dentist among dentists employing personnel, that it's about 1.6 for per dentist for chair-side assistants. It's about 1.3 for dental hygienists per dentist, and it's about 1.1 to 1.2 for receptionists. I don't know what this means. It means nothing to me. You need the players you need on your team. If one person can't get the job done to make your dental office have the best service, get more people. When you come, everybody knows the value in first impression. Have you realized that even though Neil Armstrong stood on the moon in 1969, you go to any McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's, Taco Bell, and you order, and you hear somebody like a Martian from outer space saying, and you're like, God, is that the best PA system we can get when we got men standing on the moon? We got gosh darn satellite probes that have left the solar system, and you can't even, I can't even communicate with you. McDonald's, one by one, they're taking out this gosh darn speakerphone, and you're pulling up and you're ordering face to face. Humans communicate more with their face. There's like some 200 and some facial muscles, and for that part of the face that's not having any body parts move, no long arms, no leverage, all these facial contortions are communications. We know in other languages, you can say the same word can mean anywhere from 4 to 9 different meanings depending on the tone and the pitch and the inflection and the tone and the facial and the turn away or the up pitch or the down pitch. I mean, there's a lot about communications never going to be picked up on the speakerphone. Receptionist. How come when I go to McDonald's and order a Big Mac, a 16-year-old high school dope-smoking, tattooed, pregnant welfare Democrat will always say, hey, do you want fries with that? And 40% of the people say yes. I call up, mom calls you up and says, I'd like to get my daughter Megan a cleaning, and you schedule a cleaning, ask a home number, work number, ask they got insurance, and hang up the phone. Why don't you sit here and say, well, Mom, is Megan your only child? Or do you have 2 children or more? Well, I have a son, Billy. Well, why are you making an appointment for just Megan, not Billy? Well, about a month ago, Megan slipped and hit the coffee table, and now her teeth's turning black and fuzzy, and I thought maybe I'd take her in there, get them clean, and have the doctor look at it and find out whether there's gangrene growing on her tooth. Say, well, that's good. We'll clean her teeth. Doctor's going to look at all that. But when you come in, why don't you bring Billy too? Well, sure, I don't have a problem with that. I got receptionists that will take mom calling in for a cleaning for 1 child, turn in for a cleaning for 2 children's mom and dad. I got a receptionist so good, they'll even sit there and say, now, when's the last time your husband Piglet got his teeth cleaned? Oh, God, that Piglet hadn't had his teeth cleaned in 10 years. We'll say, well, why don't we schedule an appointment for Piglet? We're open early mornings, evenings, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., 4 days a week, 7 to 4 Fridays, 9 to 3 Saturday. Well, I can't make an appointment for Pig because, he's got his own schedule, and you'd have to talk to Pig. Well, do you ever call Pig at work? Yeah. Well, you know what? I mean, Neil Armstrong stepped on the moon in 1969. I can put you, you give me that number, I'll put you on hold, I'll dial him, and we'll do a 3-way call. Boom, 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 boom. 3 seconds later, Pig's on the phone, and Piglet, this is Jerry Ann from Dr. Farran's Today's Dental, and I have your wife on the phone. She's scheduled an appointment for the 2 kids. She's going to come in. We always run 2 hygienists minimum at the same time because it's kind of annoying to come in and have your child get a 30-minute cleaning, then the next child 30-minute cleaning, then mom get an hour cleaning, then dad get an hour cleaning. Now you're in there for 3 hours. So what we do is we always run 2, usually 3, sometimes 4 hygienists at the same time. So Megan could be in room 1. And for the first 30 minutes, and then Billy, room 2. Meanwhile, in the same time period, mom's getting her teeth cleaned for an hour, and you're getting your teeth cleaned for an hour. Because Dr. Farran always says, he's very keen observation, he noticed that when people go to the IHOP, they don't sit in the waiting room and send 1 person back at a time to eat. They all go back and eat, and they all live. It's one social network, and that's the way they like it, and we're wondering if salary's good for you. And he'll say, well, I don't know if I want to get my teeth cleaned. So remember, they make decisions based on incentives. Dangle some incentives out there. Say things like, well, Piglet, did you know if you get your teeth cleaned, your wife just might face you during sex? And he'll go, wow, I never had that. Maybe I should get my teeth cleaned. When someone orders a cleaning exam and x-rays for themselves, the first thing you could say is, hey, upsell this order. Now remember with the customer service, that the degree of contact you have with someone increases the chance of a sales opportunity. You know, a mail contact is a low chance of a sales opportunity. On-site's a little higher, phone contact's a little higher, face-to-face is real high, face-to-face is total. You know, you've got a hygienist in there an hour during cleaning, that's the time you can have a lot of customer service contact. That's why I like it when someone comes in the waiting room. I don't want someone to come in the counter and sign in, because remember what they said in the Cheer song, one of the second longest running television success shows. Cheer song says, you want to go where? Where everybody knows your name. And what do? You walk in there, your receptionist is not in a uniform, she looks like she just walked out of church, you don't know her name, you're like, I'm sorry, I made an appointment here. Where if she looked at the name tag, she might remember the name. Sarah, you're Sarah. Oh, remember me? I'm Megan. Yeah, I called you to make an appointment. And what do? You're all glass in. You have them sign in like they're some branded cattle, and then they go sit down until your introvert geek calls them. What I like to do is, when they come in, say, oh, sit down. I'd love to check you in. It sits them down. It puts off their purse. It gets them a focus. And make the first thing you say something non-dental. Sit there and say, hey, can I get you a cup of coffee, a Diet Coke, a Coca, or do you need anything? Do you need to make a phone call? Half of them in the morning are like, oh, yeah, man, I'd love to get a hot coffee. In fact, I'd like to get a hot coffee. Sam, can I get a hot coffee? And so, you know, People Magazine and USA Today are the only reading material that is filled with so many pictures and people that it's okay if they're a little old. Get USA Today delivered to your waiting room. People Magazine, I don't care if the magazine's a year old. If you're reading some wild story about Tom Selleck or some famous movie star or Oprah Winfrey or whatever, I don't care if you still have one in there from the OJ trial. They'll still pick it up and read it's about people. People like to talk about people. The next thing they like to talk about is places. Very few people want to talk to ideas. That's why I hate going to parties. You know, you go to a party and everybody's standing around talking about people and Michael Jordan. You just feel like saying, get a life and leave. I'd rather sit down and talk with a PhD economist. I love economists the most. I think they're the most analytical, intellectual people. If you want to know who an economist is, it's a person who loves numbers a lot but didn't have enough personality to become an accountant. And they're usually the weirdest people on the planet. But I love them. And Patrick Walls calls it Walls' observation. He says, if the patient is found standing against the wall instead of the chair, they have a greater than average fear level. I mean, when someone comes in your office, they don't even want to sit down. Or a dental assistant, you know, you go to seat this patient and you say, just a second, I'm going to go get a bib or a napkin or an x-ray mounts, and you go get your FMX films ready. You walk back in the room, they're not even standing in the chair. Maybe you should say, you know, maybe this person's a little wigged out, and you should sit down and talk this out about nitrous oxide, pre-medication, Valium, Halcyon, Ativan if they got a driver, or maybe have the anesthetist meet them down. If they say no, that's okay, still give them a handout on fear. Give them a handout on your policies about nitrous oxide or pre-medication or anesthesiologist. They may get home and say, well, yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's a spouse. A lot of times they go home and say, no, I don't need that. I'm a man. And the spouse is like, honey, bunny, go get put to sleep. Don't have a root canal if you're going to be wigged out, because I know what you'll do. You won't go have it done, and then the tooth eventually will rot out and it'll end up on the pillow in the morning just like the dog's tooth. Patience. Today's patients will not be patient, okay? The word patient comes from the old saying, please be patient. The doctor will be with you in a while. I swear that's where it comes from, okay? We talked about this in an earlier tape, but I like to rehash this with certain tapes, because I know some doctors aren't going to have their staff listen to the 30-day Dental MBA, but they might give the ultimate receptionist tape to the receptionist, the ultimate assistant tape to the assistant, the ultimate hygienist tape to the hygienist. But as a receptionist, if this is the only tape your doctor's giving you, please go back and listen to them all, because who knows, 10 years from now you might own your own business. Hell, you might get into multi-level marketing. You might start selling real estate. Business is business, and business is understanding people. You need to understand people. You got children, you got parents, you got in-laws. And the best thing about business is that all the skills from successful business apply to all your personal life, because the name of the game of business is people, and whoever understands people the most wins in any game on the planet Earth, especially when you're sharing an 8,000-mile wide ball of dirt, traveling 40,000 miles an hour on a 365.25-day journey around the sun. If you're sitting on this little Earth ship with 6 billion other people, you ought to learn the people business, because it's very important. What are the 8 principles of waiting? Unoccupied time feels longer than occupied time. Give the people in your waiting room something meaningful to do, preferably something that relates to dentistry. Use this time constructively to generate interest in dentistry, especially elective procedures such as cosmetic dentistry. Don't hang up unrelated artwork and hang up before and after pictures of beautiful cosmetic dentistry. And let me tell you something about women. If the doctor walks in the room, says to a woman, says, you know what, you should really bleach your teeth, she'll instantly think, yeah, well, you should lose 20 pounds, get a tan, and wear a wig. I mean, you can't go tell a woman. When your wife comes out and says, honey, do you think I look fat in this dress? I mean, you're sitting there thinking, okay, do I want sex tonight or do I not want any sex tonight? Hell no, honey, you don't have an ounce of fat. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, really? I think I'm fat. Well, I don't. I mean, it's very easy, especially for an older receptionist, sit there and say, by the way, sweetie, you're more than an attractive person. Have you ever thought about bleaching your teeth? You know, if you walk into a preschool, all the teeth are pearly white. You go into a nursing home, they're all jet brown. You know, the hygienist can clean your teeth, but that's the outside stain, plaque, tartar, calculus. But you know, coffee, tea, nicotine, gravy, boysenberries, this soaks in your teeth over time. By the time you're 70 years old, your teeth are brown. And you know, when you get bleaching, look at doctors before and after. Have you seen some of his work? I mean, why would you put on all that makeup and wear a girdle and pointy shoes and go get a surgery, a tummy tuck, a boob job, dye your hair blonde, and then have brown chiclets when you smile? You know, so sell stuff, build a relationship. They'll confide into you. They'll say, well, I'd like to, but I just don't have that kind of money. Really? Well, how much do you think bleaching your teeth would cost? It's amazing how many of them say, oh, I'm sure it's several $1,000s. No, it's $395. In fact, my gosh, we got a half dozen different places that will finance it for you for as little as $20, $30 a month. They're like, really? Waiting number 2, pre-process waits feel longer than in-process waits. Have your front office staff begin the patient appointment by updating all necessary information in the patient's chart. This not only fills a vital need for your management information systems, but makes the patients feel like their appointment has started and they are not just sitting and possibly forgotten. You know, I walk into office after office after office, and their management information system is junk. I don't care if they got SoftDent, which is what I use, Dentrix from Shine, or EagleSoft from Patterson. I'll run any report. First of all, I'll say to the whole staff, how many reports does SoftDent run? And the receptionist will go, 2. And the assistant will go, 3. And the hygienist will go, I don't know. And the dentist's like, I don't know. And I'll say, well, hell, I can name 40 off the top of my head. How come I can know 40? And see, I can't run these reports anyway, because even though I can run the report and print out in a minute, you don't load any information in your computer. So garbage in, garbage out. I run these reports. It says that you have had 2 new patients in the last 12 years. Is that true? No, it's not true. Receptionists, set these people down, get a terminal, enter all the information you can. In fact, even ask them the health history questions. Even though the doctor's going to review it, the hygienist's going to review it, it just starts loading up. It's pre-processed waits feel less. Proposition number 3, anxiety makes wait seem longer. This applies to the medical and dental profession especially. Anything you can do to ease attention in the waiting area, friendly staff, distractions such as television, Nintendo for the kids, will make the waits feel shorter. A play area for kids eases stress for both mom and dad. And it also signals to mom, don't worry about your kid running around. I mean, when you walk into McDonald's, see, I got 4 boys. I can take them to any restaurant, any night of the week. And I only go to restaurants where if I walk in, they give the kids something to color with crowns. Why? Because that's a signal to me. We don't care if your 3-year-old throws his cheeseburger over the back of the head, your other son spills his milk. I mean, when the Farran family leaves a table, usually the busboy comes by, dumps kerosene on it, and throws the match and just like burns it to the ground and rebuilds it. But we know they don't care, because when they gave us things to color and crowns and we tip heavily, we know that's the market signal we want kids. I have more mothers saying, well, I've been going to Dr. Good for 10 years, but you know what? I just got married and I had my first baby, and now I got boo-boo, and I'm bringing boo-boo in. I'm thinking, oh, Dr. Good, I've never seen a kid in there. I've never seen anything for a kid to play. And my girlfriend, she said that you got a play area. It's a market. You know, when you go to the play area at McDonald's, they don't care if you spill a Coke on the floor. But you go into some of these 5-star restaurants and your kid makes a noise and the waiter looks at you, or they run over there. You know, the worst thing I hate is when you walk into a restaurant and the first thing that some waiter does comes up and says, I'm sorry, sir, you need a jacket here. Don't worry, we have a jacket. They said, what do you mean a jacket? I got more money than you'll ever have. I could buy this restaurant, fire y'all, and burn it down, and you're saying I'm not good enough to go sit at a table because I don't have your anally retentive jacket? I mean, my God, I'm not telling you you have to quit being a gay waiter and be hetero and have 4 kids. Why the hell are you telling me I got to wear a jacket? I go ballistic, and I never go back. The worst part of waiting is when you don't know how long the wait's going to be. It is simple courtesy to let a person know how long they can expect to wait. Keep your eye on expectation. Satisfaction equals perception of what's happening minus what I expected. When an airplane is waiting for their turn for departure, the pilot makes an announcement to tell you if you are the 5th or the 15th person for takeoff. An important key is friendly extrovert personalities in your front office. Number 5, unexplained waits are longer than explained waits. If no one explains why the doctor is late, the patient might assume that he or she's on the golf course, doesn't care, is back there laughing, making personal phone calls. However, if someone explains that a little boy just fell off his bicycle and knocked out his front tooth and that we weren't expecting this emergency and we're so sorry, as much as we try to be, on time and run like Southwest Airlines or Delta or American, we can't plan for Billy. I had a kid there the other day. He was getting a drink out of the drinking fountain and his best buddy shoves him from behind, clips both teeth at the gum line. I just told the receptionist, I'm sorry, I can't do elective dentistry on people who made this appointment 2 weeks ago. I got a little boy that's got both teeth clipped at the gum line. This is health care. But if you got an extrovert, especially a grandma up front, hell, you can have the next patient who you got to reschedule almost in sympathy. In fact, they usually come out and they go, how was he? And I'm like, how was who? Well, I had an appointment a week ago, and this, oh, is that right? Unbelievable. Jan, go get the pano from that kid. I'm going to show you what I did, or the pictures or whatever. Hell, I can almost have these people in tears wanting the kid's name to send them a gosh darn stuffed animal. The right staff can use these times to build up the doctor's reputation regarding his policies, to see emergencies. Go for it, people. Number 6, unfair waits are longer than equitable waits. Suppose you arrive on time or early for your appointment, but someone who arrived 20 minutes later gets seated before you. This feels unfair and makes continuing to wait unbearable. Again, the key is a friendly extrovert staff who is not afraid to stand up and say, Margaret, I know this seems unfair, but see, the deal is that lady that just came in that got seated right away, she had an appointment with the hygienist. You had an appointment with the doctor. The doctor's running a little late. He tries so hard to run on time. But let me tell you why he's running late. This is what happened. Here's the deal. He's going to seat you. I just went back there and asked him. He's going to seat you at exactly 15 after. Is that okay, or do you need to reschedule, or do you need to make a phone call, or can I get you a cup of coffee? You'll diffuse it right away if you just communicate. Like any relationship, the number one problem in any relationship with your wife, your children, your staff, your patients, it's all about lack of communication, understanding, lack of listening. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. It's not what they heard, it's what they filtered and walked away with. The more valuable the service, the longer they'll wait. Of course, I will wait longer for a meal at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse than for a taco at Taco Bell. But more importantly, after I have got what I came for, I don't want to wait at all. Again, do anything you can before an appointment to help speed up the customer's checkout at the end of the appointment when waiting seems longest at all. That's why you have to have an extra operator. By the time the average dentist puts in a fully equipped dental treatment room, it's $30,000. And the doctor can't get over that $30,000. But if you take the amount of hours it was used, by the time it's eventually thrown away, it came down to the price of a can of Coke an hour. If you have an extra room, you can stay on time more times than ever. You can be surprised at how you can do 2-chair dentistry. You can numb up one person while it soaks in for 10 minutes. You can numb up the next person. You can go back, and it's a lot easier to do. And the number one problem when I go into a dental office is, here's a doctor, the shortest link in the chain. I say, well, what are you doing in your private office? Oh, I'm waiting on a chair. Got a whole waiting room of patients and you're waiting on a chair? What do you mean? Well, they got to dismiss that patient, sterilize the room, set up the room for the next patient. I got to sit back here and wait 15 minutes. And that's the same tight ass who has a lock box over his thermostat, hadn't given anybody a raise for 5 years, and has staff turnover of 2 years. Solo waits feel longer than group rates. Misery loves company. Notice how Disneyland has implemented the snake line so that people waiting could pass the time watching, discussing how adorable the kids are while waiting in line. This develops a sense of community while waiting with other people. We're all in the same boat. People love to watch people, receptionists. Always remember that. Regina Hertzlinger, I love her little stat when she sits there and says, in 1991, there were 704 million patient visits to the doctor. If each patient had to wait 30 minutes for their appointment, the economy lost 176,000 years of work. You got to run on time. You got to communicate. It's an honor when you walk in. There's nothing worse than you walk into a doctor's office and The receptionist's all in her own world behind bulletproof glass, staring at her deal, talking on the phone. What's even more miserable when you hear her talking to her boyfriend. Oh, really? Well, did you get the tickets to George Strait or Garth Brooks? Or, well, I'll be home at 5. And you're like, I'm coming in here paying all this money, and this is the crap I get. It's everything to have customer service receptionists. And there's nothing smarter, nothing nicer, nothing more honorable when someone walks in the room and she goes to her feet and goes, Mary, how are you doing? You look lovely. La, 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 la. Can I get you a coffee, a Diet Coke, whatever, whatever. Build relationships. Your job description is about people, not paper. I don't care if at the end of the day you didn't file the charts, pull the charts, do all this stuff. You know, I can get a high school kid to come in after high school at 3 o'clock for minimum wage to file charts, pull charts, file, do all this stuff. I don't need my Michael Jordan after a basketball game mopping the floors. In fact, my dental assistants, when they weren't getting the We Care calls done of calling every patient that we gave a shot to a week later because they were cleaning traps and cleaning the bathrooms and taking out trash, I'm sitting there thinking, why the heck am I paying people 12, 15, 18 bucks an hour, 401k, profit sharing, vacations, continuing ed, uniforms, name tags to take out the trash? I have a cleaning service coming every night for 2 hours. I want my people to focus on people. I didn't pay them all that money to go empty the trash and file charts. Focus on your job description. Remember that you need more operators. I'm always going to talk about capacity until I'm blue in the face. You know, all these places, movie theaters, banks, everybody has. You know, you go to the bank, the average time they're using 1 drive-through lane. But if it's Friday at 3 o'clock and everybody's leaving work with their checks, they open up all 3 lanes. You have to build your capacity to meet the flow, not capacity to equal the demand, because people don't come in steadily like an assembly line. They come in big flows. That's what we call operations and logistics management. The road called someday leads to a town called nowhere. I want capacity today. If the phone line's busy, one time a day, I want another line. If that phone line, if both lines are busy one time a day, I want a third line. Today's dental now has 8 lines. We have phones everywhere. Those assistants know if a phone rings 3 times, someone's on another phone, and we don't want to put people on hold. And look at a dental assistant. I mean, when a dental assistant's assisting during a root canal, all dental assistants tell me they hate assisting that procedure the most. It's the most boring because it's mostly all doctor work. It's very slow. It's very tedious. In fact, during a root canal, the average assistant is just sitting there on her stool daydreaming about booze and sex, okay? Their mind's floating off. Why not have a phone there? It doesn't even have to ring, just light. And she can notice, oh my gosh, the first 3 lines are all being used. The 4th one's blinking, and they can just pick it up and their cord step outside the room. Thank you for calling Today's Dental. This is Jan. How may I help you? And, you know, same thing in Barnes & Noble. You go in there and slow, they got one person there. Everyone else is putting books away or filing books or putting out new inventory. But if a wave of people come in, because it's right next to Harkins movie theater and a big movie just let out, and 25 people walk in, they immediately go to the intercom. I need all checkers to the front, all checkers to the front, and their capacity is designed to handle a wave of people, because people come in waves. They don't come in lines. Same thing in grocery stores. Grocery stores average 10 checkout lanes, and they usually only have all 10 going 7 days a year. It's Memorial Day, 4th of July, Labor Day, when every mom in the world gets up and says, oh, I don't have any mustard, ketchup, pickles, potato chips, hamburger buns, hot dog buns. And these are days, they're holidays, and usually just for 7 days a year, they have 10 checkout lanes, even though from 9 o'clock p.m. till 7 in the morning, they only use 1. Maybe 8 to 5 when everybody's at work, and they only use 2 or 3. After work, on a Friday, they might use, on a weekday, they might use 4 or 5. Saturdays, they might use 6 or 7 or 8. But they've got 10 there just because about 7 days a year, they actually load them up all 10. And people aren't going to wait 30 minutes in line at a grocery store for groceries. Same thing as McDonald's. And you'll see it at most of McDonald's because Ray Kroc was the one who pioneered that capacity has to equal flow, as opposed to Henry Ford's Industrial Revolution where capacity equals demand. And, you know, you walk into McDonald's and there's one person there, a wave of people walk in, and hell, they call up 60-year-old grandpa from the back, and now he's taking your order. And then 5 minutes later, you're back to 1 again. Everybody comes in flows. I want you, just like Phil Jackson of the Bulls, as a clipboard and a diagram of a basketball court. I mean, how difficult is it a basketball court? Well, you got players getting $30 million a year, and they still have to have a design because they need to focus, they need a plan, a strategy. How are we going to do this, okay? I want a clipboard of the office plan in detail. I want it from the original blueprints, shrunk to size on an 8 by 10 piece of paper, so every detail's there. I don't want a sketch drawing because you'd be surprised that when you see an aerial drawing of your office, how much people want to redesign their office. Every dentist who tells me he doesn't have room for an extra operatory cannot show me within an hour the blueprints for a dental office floor. And if he does provide them, because he pulls them out of the garage, the attic, or his wife brings them from home, the staff's never seen it. And you get all the staff looking at the same focus scorecard, operation, logistics, floor plan. It's amazing how many staff will say, well, you know what? This is what I think the problem is. I think that we need a door here. I think we need to move the x-ray machine over here. I think we need an extra operatory here. And don't be afraid to invest $40,000, $50,000, $60,000, $75,000 in an office remodel. The average dentist during his career 3 times will dump $75,000 or more into their office in some form of a remodel. I mean, do you really think you're going to graduate when you're 25 years old, put in paneling and shag carpet and a couple of black furry posters, and 40 years later that's going to be hip? And when you're decorating the office, by the way, you know, everybody wants a relationship. So your office should show some relationship. Why would you put up pictures of like docs? Why would you put up pictures of like fancy art? If your doctor is an absolute Broncos fan, you should walk in that waiting room. There should be an 8-foot picture of gosh darn, what's that guy's name, that quarterback for the Broncos? Elway. And they'll sit there and they'll walk in your office and they'll crack a smile and say, what the hell is there, a 6-foot picture of John Elway? Oh, that's doctor's alter ego. He said if he could be anything other than be a dentist, he'd be John Elway, play for the Broncos. You immediately crack a smile. They're not thinking about their toothache. They can't wait to go back there and tell the dentist that John Elway's going to retire in the next year. Broncos are going to get cremated. Or if you like, you know, if your hobby's hot air ballooning, my gosh, load up the office with your personality. Staff. Bring in pictures of your babies, your family. Hell, if you have 5 dogs and 6 kittens and 12 horses, put it up there. Build a relationship. In fact, what I like to do is I like the staff put something in, you know, in their operatory or their hygiene room or their front office desk or something around them, so when other staff members are coming out there, they might find they have something in common. Oh, you have 4 kittens? You'll never believe this. I have 48 kittens, and there's cat crap this deep in my front room, and my bed, we don't even have blankets on it. There's that much cat fur, and they have something common. They have something to talk about. It breaks the ice. Remember that operations is logistics. Inputs come in, you transform them to outputs, and it needs a plan. It needs a strategy. The reason people leave without scheduling their next appointment or basically is because they walked up front, walked out. I need choke points. You know how the United States government planned the Navy? They know that when you go to war in the Navy, that there's only 23 choke points, that any type of war has to go through 23 choke points. You're going to have to go through the Suez Canal, the Strait of Gibraltar, the Panama Canal, the tip of South Africa, the tip of Argentina, straits around Indonesia, Japan. They know every place your sub or aircraft carrier or battleship or destroyer have to go there. And the United States on any given moment has got a nuclear-powered Trident submarine submerged sitting there at a choke points, because if the United States Navy, which basically our military spends 50% of global military, if they need to turn off ocean transportation, they surface, it's closed down, no one goes nowhere. And that's a way you got to look at your office, as a game, as a Navy admiral. Where are the choke points? And where there's a choke point, put a door there, put a chair there. Don't pass patients up front. Don't let patients walk on their own. Escort the patient from the operatory to the checkout center and say, sit here. That woman right there's name's Jody. She's going to check you out. She's on the phone. I talked to Jody. She's going to be with you in 2 minutes. Sit here tight. Can you get you a cup of coffee, Diet Coke, or need a muffin, whatever, blah, 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 blah. Close down the choke points. Find your Panama Canal, your Strait of Gibraltar, your Suez Canal, and put a chair there, and a dental terminal for your management information system so that data can get loaded. When you're checking people out, I want them to have clipboards. They got a clipboard for check-in. When someone checks in, we have to check off. Did you greet the patient? Did you update their address? Did you update their insurance? Did you verify now the financial arrangement? Did you notify the clinical staff? Did you let the patient know if the doctor's behind or on time? You fill it all out and you sign it. And then when you're checking these people out, we ask them, did you verify their insurance, their address? Did you verify the chart's complete? Did you collect all the monies owed? Did you schedule the next visit? Did you check and make sure they have a recall scheduled? Did you make sure that the insurance has already been filed? I mean, don't just load the information. Electronic claims, file it. Send it out right now. We don't have to send this stuff out in batches. We don't have to send out on Fridays. Do it now. Operational logistics. We also, every person that leaves, we have an exit interview. Says, thank you for visiting today's dental. And we ask them, we say, were you satisfied with the treatment you received from the professional staff at today's dental? And we ask them if they're very satisfied, neutral, dissatisfied, very dissatisfied. Now remember, if they go from checking on a 1 to 5 system, if they go from checking a 5, which would be a very satisfied, to a 4, satisfied, they're 6 times more likely to never come back. Remember, people don't complain. If someone complains, 24 other people have the same complaint and won't tell you about it. So when they sit there and move it from a very satisfied to a satisfied, even though 4 out of 5 is 80%, something went wrong. Cue into that. When you see they go satisfied instead of very satisfied, say, well, tell me, Margaret, what happened? See, they're not going to talk to the dentist. They're intimidated. They're not going to tell the clinical staff. But if they got a relationship with you and you were talking about cats when they come in, or the weather, or you both grew up in Detroit or Boston or whatever, they're going to say, well, he said this filling matches, and I think it looks like a chiclet. I don't like it at all. Okay, number 2, did the staff listen and understand all of your needs and answer all your questions? I can't believe how many stupid introvert geeks will say, well, he still never told me when my son's supposed to start ortho. And I'm sitting back there thinking, why the hell didn't she just ask me? And but I don't know how people think. They're all weird. Number 3, did we begin your appointment on time? Southwest Airlines, the FAA, Delta, everybody tracks on-time takeoffs. They publish it. Southwest Airlines has won it 5 years in a row. Number 4, were you given post-operative instructions and are today's dental 5-year warranty? If they check no, hell, you figured it out right there. This is operations and logistics. Setting a choke point at the Suez Canal and quantifying operations that you're doing what you need to do. This is systems dependent, not Dr. Howie dependent. Number 5, would you recommend today's dental to a friend, coworker, relative? Man, when they sit there and check off very unlikely, hell, there's a nuclear war going on. Well, what happened? Number 6, why did you choose today's dental? I need to know this. Why am I renewing a $1,600 page ad in the yellow pages? People ask me, why have you been a member of 1-800-DENTAL since, 1987, 1989? I don't know. You can ask the owner about that, Fred Joyle. The guy's a stud, 1-800-DENTIST, because I know how much 1-800-DENTIST costs. I know how many patients it referred. I can go to my management information system, SoftDent, find out what all those people are worth. Hell, if I paid $1,600 for a full page ad in the yellow pages and it generated $30,000 of dentistry, hell yeah, I'm going to likely renew my yellow page ad. Dentists always telling me this. They'll say, well, I don't think I'm going to renew my yellow pages. I say, why? I don't think it worked. And I'll say, well, exactly how many people did it refer you last month? Oh, I don't know. Well, those people that referred, how much dentistry did it generate? I don't know. Well, what are you basing this on? Well, I just got a gut feeling it doesn't work. And I say, well, I remember when I used to dissect people, that guts are filled with shit. Maybe you're having a shitty opinion. Why don't you get some damn data, okay? Why don't you know how many people are referred? It's numbers. It's not gosh darn crappy opinions. And then put a place down there for comments so these people can tell you if they like or didn't like. Same thing on the phone. I need to know on operation logistics point of view, we get to yes. If we tell anybody no, by every phone is a pad called getting yes. Every time we tell a person no, I need to know that all day long. Why am I charging $75 for a cleaning if 3 people a day are trying to get into cleaning and I don't have any room? I got some lady whining about paying $75 for a cleaning, and I got 3 getting to yes slips filled out that said that, well, they called up for a cleaning. Now, see, I know your office won't ever be able to do this because when someone asks for a cleaning, first thing you do is you rattle off 2 times. That's why I don't even like hiring people from dental office. They got so many bad habits, I don't have time to break them. I'd rather get someone brand new that came from a restaurant. You call a maitre d' at a restaurant. I'd like to make a reservation for 4. First thing you say, wouldn't like to come in. Call up an airline. I'd like to make a reservation to fly to LA. When would you like to go? I just took my whole 31 staff members on a cruise. I called the cruise line, Royal Caribbean. I'd like to book a cruise. Which one? They don't tell me which one they have opening. They call them, I'd like to get my teeth cleaned. When would you like to come in? Well, is there any way I get in today? And we say no, we circle that. When I find out I'm telling 2 people a no, when I'm filled up at $75 a cleaning, I instantly go to $80, $90 a cleaning. I mean, why are you telling people no for $75 when people are trying to get in today for $90? Number 2 question, doctor appointment time available per request. Number 3, the appointment time after 5 available. Number 4, appointment time before 9 a.m. available. Number 5, we said no because they had a HMO insurance. Number 6, patient has no insurance or money. You know, I need to know when I don't sign up for these HMOs. Does that cost me 10 patients a year or 500 patients a year? You know, if it got to the point where I was telling 500 people a year no to HMO, I'd sit there and say, well, I got a sit-down Mexican restaurant, but I think I'm going to go across the street. And instead of having Today's Dental, maybe I'll open up a place called Yesterday's Dental and open up an HMO, Taco Bell, and Oleum Floors, $3,900 ops. Everyone's uniform name tag, just like Walmart, but only getting $7 an hour, no benefits, no 401k, no health insurance. Maybe I would do that across the street. I need data. If I'm going to make a high-quality decision, I need data. You can get all these 3 pads available. All you got to do is call, and I'm not trying to sell you a pad. Hell, we sell these things for, I don't know, 25 bucks. But you can call Dental Mania, the Farran report, 1-602-598-0001. 602-598-0001. The key measures of consumerism are the time on the phone necessary to make an appointment, number of days you had to wait for a routine cleaning, a scheduled dental appointment or emergency dental appointment, and number 3, the on-time performance of your seating. We don't run late at Today's Dental. I got my exit interviews filled out. Dentists and physicians speak in a dogmatic language rooted in Latin and Greek, whose certainty of tone vastly exceeds their certainty of knowledge. So bring it on down to the customer. Attention all receptionists. The absolute second that the doctor leaves the room, ask the poor, helpless patient, did you understand a single word the doctor said? If they say yes, reply, wow, I didn't. I've been working here for over 10 years. You remember when you're checking these people out, say, you know, I know doctor has 8 years of college and he knows too many vocabulary words and sometimes he loses sight. You know, I always tell doctor, you know, when you go to take your car in for a transmission, some guy starts rattling off timing chains, ball bearings. You know, last time I took my car to a place to get gas, he asked me if I wanted 40 weight oil or 30 weight oil. What the hell's that? I said, when you get a root canal, you want lateral condensation, vernal condensation, Sargenio, silver point. He said, I don't know what you're talking about. I said, do I have grease under my nails? How the hell do I know about oil? I grew up with 5 sisters playing Barbie dolls till I'm 14. Why don't you call my wife? She's pulled 3 transmissions on a farm. Remember that the doctor comes from the Latin word teacher. Receptionist, you've got to be doctor's teacher before the patient sees them and when they come out. And if you can build and design the ultimate receptionist, you're going to have the same type of situations when a football team has the ultimate quarterback, a basketball team has the ultimate center, or a gosh darn baseball team has the ultimate pitcher, or a soccer or a hockey team has the ultimate goalie. Thanks so much for another great day. I'll see you back tomorrow. Until then, rock and roll. I'll see you tomorrow.